Yeah. All right, good. Actually, my name is everyone. And sorry, I'm excited for tonight's live stream. It's one of my favorite movies we're going to be discussing tonight. We're going to be discussing Total Recall, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm joined tonight by John Jerva, J-Man, Sean, and Stephen. How are you?
Hey.
Who?
All right. And of course, like, I don't even know, like, what is he? He's like a mutant. He's like a baby kind of thing, or whatever.
It's Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Don't be upset when you see him.
yeah, but yeah, Total Recall, absolutely love it. And it's one of my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And J-Man himself introduced me to the story that it's based on, which I'd never actually read before. It's just a 19-page short story called We'll Remember It For You Wholesale by Philip K. Dick. And it's a really good story, and it really sort of sets up the movie. Like, I think the way they created the movie out of that short story and made such an awesome movie out of it. He doesn't go to Mars. His name's Quail in it rather than Quaid.
Yeah.
My name is not Quaid, it's Quail. Yeah, so like everything about this movie I love. Like, I love Jerry Goldsmith's score. Those opening credits are amazing. I just want to go to the gym and work out. So I love that. Arnie is at his Arniest in this movie. I mean, like, it's the best dialogue is just
You blew my cover!
You bastards!
You kill us all!
Oh, got an emergency call. Have fun tonight, guys. Oh well, nice talking to you. Bye.
All right.
Bye.
See you next time. But yeah, so I absolutely love the movie, and I love the two female leads in it, Sharon Stone and Rachel Ticotin, two kick-ass ladies. And I think Sharon Stone doesn't actually quite get enough credit for her character in this, where she can be, really sweet and nice one minute, and then just like total crazy psycho the next. And you could literally take a shot anytime she kicks Quaid in the nuts, which is like 5 or 6 times, just like kicks him constantly. But and you got Michael Ironside, of course, as Richter, and he's awesome. And then Ronnie Cox for RoboCop as well as Cohagen. Love it. So many great lines. Like, come on, Cohagen, you got what you want. Give these people the air. So good. So those are my thoughts on it. I absolutely love it. So I just wanted to go first tonight. So John Jerva, Total Recall, go.
Like I said, I just reintroduced myself to it the other day, and actually it was funny because, like, the awesome score starts playing at the beginning, and like when it first starts, it kind of sounds like it could be for Conan the Barbarian. I don't know, that's the impression I get. Like when it starts off, and I'm like, wow, like, and it just totally sets up, and I like how the credits and the visuals and everything. This is going to be your typical Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, but then. It takes sci-fi, and then he does his commando thing, and it just puts it all together. And I forgot how incredibly violent the movie is. I'm watching it with my wife, and she's like, wow, there's a lot of blood in this. I'm like, yeah, they used to do blood scripts back then. It's like, it's awesome, And it's like, he's in that indestructible mode. I mean, he gets hit around a couple times, but he just totally like fucks everybody up for the whole movie. And the visuals, and actually, interesting enough, it was one of the last movies I was reading, that used like, miniatures, before they started really getting into the CGI and everything. So that was really cool, because, I missed that time of movie making, where they did things, like watching like how they made Star Wars and everything, so type of thing, where the miniatures and everything. But then it just totally rocks, in the ending. And Michael Ironside, like, I was a big fan of V, and he's just totally doing his Ham Tyrell thing, but he's just on the evil side. He's wearing the black like he did in that, and he's just awesome in it. And what can I say, Owen? I'm with you. It's fucking awesome. That's my thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, there are so many great kills in this movie. Well, not only Richter himself, but like whenever he's strapped in and he breaks out and like he has the metal thing and like stabs it through the guy's neck, and then he sticks this metal thing through the guy's face and everything. And then whenever he's first in Recall is not somewhere I would want to work. It's a really stressful workplace. Like the way McLean, which is the same name as the guy in the story, which I love. And he says to the woman there, says, "Use your head, you dumb bitch." And I was like, that seems a little excessive. Your colleagues like that. And then the guy's like, "You're speaking about the fucking agency. Shut up." And she keeps laughing at him. I'm like, I was like, well, I'm not going to complain about my job again. So, just crazy.
Well, I also like how it's kind of open to interpretation. I'm like, was it real or was he, was it in his mind? Because I was reading also like how Verhoeven, like, at the end it turns to white before the credits go. It kind of leaves you like with the, is it or is it not? And of course it pissed my wife off because she's like, well, was it? And I'm like, what do you think? And then she just got mad and she walked out of the room. But
yeah, I mean, it's sort of, you sort of work that out earlier on whenever the doctor comes in and you see this bead of sweat running down his head, and then you know it's real because you don't sweat in dreams.
Right. But he also predicts what's going to happen in the rest of the adventure. So
right.
Yeah, you're sort of like,
He tells you the entire story. It's like, well, how do you know all this? So
exactly. It's like you just described the whole thing.
I know. And it's funny, Sharon Stone's character is called Karen in the book, isn't she? In the story, is she's going to go call the manager. But it's funny, she's still like a total bitch in the book, and she's actually even like more horrible in the book because she just thinks everything he says is bullshit. It's like, oh, shut up and stop going on about Mars. And then she just leaves him, but she doesn't punch him in the nuts, which is nice. Right. So, Sean, you can take over from here.
Yeah, we're all gonna say it's awesome, right? I mean, like, I think it's moving away when it came out because we'd never seen anything like that. You watch it now, there's like tons of practical effects, and you could say, "Oh, that's rubber, right?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But there are some great practical effects, like like Benny's arm, and I don't mean to sound crass, but the 3 boobs is really good too because it looks realistic. It looks real. It's because it's not animated or anything, so it has no room to fiddle, right? So,
there's a prop I'd like to buy.
But like the woman coming apart was just imaginative, right? And then coming back and it's like get ready for a surprise, and that was like on every trailer for that thing.
2 weeks. I still say 2 weeks.
So the same.
Yeah. It's. I mean, like it was awesome. I saw it twice in the theater at the time, and everyone was freaking out about it. And I got there's a lot of marketing around, so I got the comic. I think it was a DC comic, not Marvel. And I got the Mad magazine with that one guy with all the messed up stuff on his head. It's like a big tongue coming out of his head. And I remember for the comic, they kind of edited out the sex scene in the beginning. And they're like, and then it was day. And it's like, okay, I guess. And the NES game was kind of neat. I mean, I'm sure if I play it now, it's kind of crap. But I just remember playing that. And at one point, you're in that one level where it's all behind that X-ray area, and so you're like a skeleton and you're fighting guys. It's pretty awesome. But yeah, it's one of the better Schwarzenegger things. Like his library at the time was awesome. It's like and he represented. I mean, I know it's not just him, right? It's the director and everyone involved, but like a movie from Schwarzenegger represented the gold standard of what like high octane action summer technical picture was. And that was it for 1990. I mean, I don't know what else came out in 1990, but like it blew everything away, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So
agreed. So Stephen.
Well, it's a 10 out of 10 movie. Like there's no argument here. This is a movie, and the visual effects, people don't really like, this is 30 years ago, but when this movie came out, it won Best Visual Effects without any competitors. They didn't even have categories. They just gave it to it. No movies approaching.
Before, yeah.
Yeah, no movies approaching this. It was incredible. I remember seeing it. First time I watched it was in a friend's place. I was in the basement where they had the TV, and my friend's dad was watching with me, and we got to the point where he's taking the thing out of his nose, and my dad's friend just starts cracking up because it just looked like the world's largest booger he was trying to get rid of. I know J-Man says get your ass to Mars like all the time. Like
yeah, I always do.
So many classic moments from this. I love this scene where where he and Owen, I know you're going to say see you at the party, Richter, in your Schwarzenegger voice. But what I love is he throws his arms after him after this. He just like blows him up.
I don't need these.
I don't need these anymore. Like, it's crazy. It's such a crazy movie. I even love the secondary characters. Like I love that blonde guy with the glasses who follows like basically like Ironside's character around. Mm-hmm. I love that guy for some reason. He's just like he's always there. And he's like the voice of reason to Ironside.
Break the fucking dome.
Yeah. The dome will crack. Like it'll break. Like everyone's on point. Dean Norris is in it. You can't even know. You don't even know.
Thank you, Tony.
Yeah, under all that makeup. Marshall Bell just carrying that thing around for that scene was like crazy. Like the makeup was incredible in this film. It's one of those movies where if someone said I loved every minute of it, usually when you say I loved every minute of it, you're like, oh, really? But this is one where if someone said I loved every minute of it, I would believe them. One question I have for the panel is at the scene at the end with Copenhagen, he becomes a mutant. So in your opinion, is he now dead, or is he just like, what does it mean to become a mutant? Like, are you mindless? Are you no longer you? You're still alive, but you're just a creature then? Like what, because this is a weird movie where the villain doesn't really die, I don't think, but it's just he's so inalterably changed. He's not the same character. It's the weirdest thing. Like usually you get that final Schwarzenegger kills the main villain in a very definitive way. Obviously he's not going to fight Ronnie Cox because Ronnie Cox was like 50 something at the time of the movie. But like, what does it mean when he becomes the mutant? Because you see characters in the movie with the mutations on like a side of the face or the three boob, and they're not like they're saying they're still like you can still understand they're still characters, they're still people. But it seems to imply that the Copenhagen character is inalterably changed. Do we agree to that? Like, is he in effect dead as that character, or what happened to
him? Wait, what?
Yeah,
Copenhagen gets sucked out into Mars, and then he's
dead. Yeah,
he's dead. He gets sucked out, and then his like insides pop out because he's outside with no oxygen. Yeah.
Okay, so he is dead.
Oh yeah, he's
just didn't show his final. Like it shows his eyes coming out, but
he just goes.
No, he's dead. Yeah, I don't think he's mutated or whatever.
Yeah. I think it's just
because the
mute as Schwarzenegger in his dream, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like and like
yeah.
Because they do show like the characters are mutated because of exposure to the outside air, right? Like that's the whole thing is it's filtering in slowly because Copenhagen isn't like he's just using them. He's not protecting them, and they're just getting slowly mutated. But
I wasn't sure if that is causing the mutation or not.
Yeah.
I don't know. Was that ever made clear? Because
I don't think it's ever really clarified. Yeah,
I was always under the impression that some people there sort of got weird exposure to different elements on Mars, and they were colonizing it, so they weren't sure, what they needed to survive, and slowly that bled into the bloodstream, and then in through the generations where some developed some sort of powers like the psychic girl, and then some people just looked different. Some people got 3 boobs and the rest of them looked normal, right? Like, things like that. I don't know if it was the air thing. I think Copenhagen was just wanting to own Mars and own the air and own all of the people there, and that was his way of doing it because he was the only one who can control the air.
Yeah. Benny's the one that says what Steve's saying, and it's very quick. It's like, I think it's when they go to Venusville or whatever. Well, I used to think it was called Penisville. I was like, what the hell? but it's like he says something to the effect of like slowly something from the atmosphere seeps through the dome or whatever, and they become mutants. And I think all mutants can predict the future. Like that's one of the keys to, and then also they look all fucked up, right? So
I don't think all of them can, because what's his name? I just forgot. D. Norris, he can't. I don't think, right?
Yeah.
And three boob lady can't either. I don't think. I think some of them can, who have like the better gifts.
She has her own talents.
Yes.
I love Severio here. He's like,
2 weeks.
2 weeks. I remember even like when I was in primary school, we would be saying, and I said, "Oh, how long are you going on holiday for?" 2 weeks.
I just want the look on the guard's face when she's freaking out. He's like, "What the hell's going on?"
He just doesn't know what to do. He's just like,
That's Quaid.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What was I going to say? Yeah, I love the scene of Quato, the weird baby mutant thing that he is. But he's so sort of unsettling at the same time, but amazingly well done. Like the effects are still really good, and I love his voice. Like I was doing the dishes last night, and Ed was in the front room, and I just went, Quaid. Quaid. I was like, sorry. I was like, I can't help it. Yeah. What do you want, Mr. Quaid? I just love that. And then it's hard to pick a favorite kill in the movie because there are so many. Like, it has the best neck-breaking sound ever whenever he's fighting Harry. In the beginning, he's like, "What the fuck did I do wrong?" And then he's like,
I guess I was desensitized to the fact that all those people on that escalator all died. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
It's like, and they were bad guys. It's like they're all just like standing there.
Collateral damage is like off the charts in this movie. It's just like,
look, I got stepped on by Michael Ironside. He just steps on a guy.
That brings up a good point. It's like my favorite part was the dynamic between Roddy Cox and Michael Ironside, because Roddy Cox pretty much tells everybody throughout the movie that Michael Ironside's just fucking everything up. He's like, like, why is he on your payroll? Because he's like, you don't want him to kill him, but he's going to. He's like, so it's just he just like basically says that Michael Ironside's an idiot through the whole movie. So
it's because Sharon Stone was his girlfriend. That's why he's too emotional.
Right? Yeah. Right.
Like
he was like, even before then though, he was like a rabid dog off the leash. So it's like, so that part I love too, and like their conversations with each other too was pretty cool.
Well, Michael Ironside has the best intro in this movie. He literally comes in and knees a guy in the head who's looking at him.
Right.
Yeah. That's my woman.
Yeah. Like that's his first act in the movie.
So, Jay, you.
Okay. Well, I mean, obviously, I love this movie. It's 10 out of 10. I do enjoy every minute of it, so Steve will have to believe me.
Same.
From the music, like Schwarzenegger's my hero, right? It's in my top 4 Schwarzenegger movies. That Conan's number 1, the 2 Terminators, and Total Recall. Though sometimes, depending on the day, I would almost put Total Recall as second, which seems crazy, but
it's my second favorite. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what happened in Total Recall is it introduced me, and I think a lot of people, to a lot of things. Firstly, Philip K. Dick, who's a genius, and Sharon Stone, because I watched every Sharon Stone. I was like following her career. I watched like Scissors, and like she was in a lot of weird, crappy movies. But Paul Verhoeven, it was like Total Recall was like Paul Verhoeven, Sharon Stone, Philip K. Dick. Like the idea that a big budget action movie could also have a plot that was very intricate and detailed, and this, you could have stripped away the action of this movie, and you'd still have a fantastic science fiction film in terms of like just the plot and just the story. But you could also strip away all of the interesting minds, stuff and plot, and have a really cool action movie. So it's like you're getting a really good action movie and a really good science fiction movie merged together, and you didn't get that too often. Sometimes you get more heavy action and less plot. Like Terminator's an action movie with a little bit of sci-fi, really. You know what I mean? It's an action movie, right? Like this was really balanced. The lines, every line is the best. I love the double, like the screwing over. It's like, wait, are you really him? Are you not? The question at the end, we can address it. Is it a dream? Is it not a dream? Kiss me or before it's over. But I mean, I don't think it matters, because it doesn't matter whether if it's fake, it was real to him and he paid for the memories and he got the memories he wanted. So it's a win no matter what happens. And if it's really happening, then he just saved Mars, right? So I think it's a genius movie. Like I can't even think of any way to make it better. Remaking it was definitely not the answer, as Jimmy says here. It was very bland, and it's actually a little bit offensive to me that they even bothered to remake it. And the reason for that is what we discussed very briefly last week when you mentioned this topic: the fact that the Philip K. Dick story is so short that they took that small story and used like the skeletal structure of the first like 20 minutes is that story, and then they've put so much into it. This isn't something that like we're changing it to make it better. Like that story could not really sustain anything but like a Twilight Zone episode of like a 30-minute show or something, right? To take that and expand it into this epic action sci-fi like masterpiece is crazy. Paul Verhoeven, tremendous credit, needs to go to that guy. Every movie he's made has had some value. Yes, even Showgirls, but like has some kind of value. He's just a great filmmaker. And to do all of this with this small story, because like some people take Philip K. Dick stories and murder them and make them into trash. This was the one time where they took it and really kind of expanded it and made it even more crazy than the original story even thought it would ever be. I know if nobody's read it, it's really weird, like kind of, why he has to forget. But anyway, I think it's genius. It's a great movie, and it's a good one for, I don't want to say regular people, but it's one movie where the normies can appreciate it, and that's because of that heavy-duty, good plot and sci-fi stuff. Like my wife really likes the Terminator movies a lot, the first two, and she really likes Total Recall. And I don't know which one she likes better. I should have asked her like before I started. But well, actually, John, what did your wife think if you just watched it with her recently? Like, I think this bridges the gap, because I've had people say, it's a Schwarzenegger, I don't want to watch an action movie. It's like, oh, it's sci-fi, and like every single person I've showed this to has been like, holy crap, this is like the damn best, so it really speaks to a lot of people.
No, absolutely. My wife, well, she's seen it a long time ago because her dad used to watch these types of movies too, but she hadn't seen it in so long. And then, like the only thing that I said, like my wife needs closure, and then like when the question was brought up at the end, she kind of gets aggravated because she needs it to be like, yes, this is what it is, and that's just the way she is. But I love her for it. But so yeah, she thought it was great. I mean, and she, like I just said, I just love her expressions, like. Because I've seen the movie so many times. I saw it in the movie theater. I saw it when it first came to VHS, DVD, Blu-ray. It's like, but watching somebody see it for the first time or the second time, for you who haven't seen it in years, she just like, and you can tell when she likes a movie and when she doesn't like a movie. Because if she doesn't like the movie, then she just starts talking and stuff like that. I'm like, shh. But here she was like engrossed with it, and she loves Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like as I said, her dad grew up watching those movies too. But I love how I love movies that take different genres and just meshes them together. You got sci-fi, and you got the commando style action with Schwarzenegger just mowing people down at the end. And I love like the watch, and with the hologram, he's like, "You think this is the real Queen? It is." And he just starts shooting everybody, and it's like and you just start laughing, and you just get giddy, and it's like it's kind of sadistic in a way. It's like as they're mowing all these people down, and like Owen was saying, and then you got Rachel, who's badass, and I love when they do that. It's like there's no damsel in distresses in this movie. Usually when you got an action movie, you got the woman who has to be saved. Here, she could freaking save Schwarzenegger, and that's the coolest part about it. And, how can you not love Sharon Stone doing karate? I mean, please, come on. That's just the win-win for everybody. So.
That's the best fight scene of the movie as well.
Yes, and between it.
Yeah. Vicious.
Yeah, and Verhoeven made it so it wouldn't be like a cat fight. He didn't want it to be like, with them just like scrapping it. He wanted to be martial arts, like infused fighting with them, and that's what makes it work, because that just shows how badass these women are. And they give the men a run for their money.
Mm. It is one of the most squib-tastic movies.
Oh my god!
I mean, the squibs
you were talking about Madigan's War, and I'm just like, I'm watching this movie, and I'm like, Jesus Christ! Because again, I hadn't seen it in a long time, and I knew it was violent, but just like I said, the collateral damage is just ridiculous. They're just going everybody down. It's like you didn't want to be an innocent bystander in this movie, especially on that escalator. And then I love how he just keeps using it. He just keeps using him as a shield. He's like, he's already dead.
He's already dead.
Like two ripped apart. Right? Yeah.
It's like this poor guy he was going to work. So
awesome.
Part 3.
Hey.
Part 3.
Is there a harder cut of this film? I think it's pretty hard.
It was X-rated. They had to cut some of the violence out.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, the remake was terrible, so forgettable. Yeah, I watched the remake.
Like Schwarzenegger's acting in this is pretty good. Like I know a lot of people make fun of him, but like when he's Hauser. Like the thing, like that last video,
he's great. Yeah,
that last video when he's Hauser and he's talking to Quaid, and he's like, "Oh, so sorry," and he's smiling and everything. I was so angry. Like when I was watching, I was so angry at him, and it's like it's a small moment. But I'm so pissed off at this guy. It's like fucking, you can't kill him because he's Quaid, but like I was like, oh, I hate this guy.
But Schwarzenegger, but Quaid says that he's an asshole.
Yeah, well, except for
a fucking asshole.
Terminator, but yeah,
He's a fucking asshole.
He's a fucking asshole. He is an asshole. He's such a piece of shit. I hate that. He's like, and he's got this cheap smile on his face, like,
and I love how he's Cohagen's best friend.
Yeah,
you don't like him. He's my best friend.
Looks like a wrestling.
Not only is he a bad guy, he's the bad guy's best friend.
Yeah.
Shit, what was I going to say? I keep forgetting what I'm going to say. I get so excited talking about this. It's my train of thought of where I'm going.
And one other point I wanted to make too is that, like Paul Verhoeven's like sci-fi action trilogy of like RoboCop, Total Recall, and Starship Troopers is awesome.
It's awesome.
Like, that can't be beat. Those three movies, and all three of them are like they're high octane action. You can watch them you could totally enjoy them as action pictures. And the height of them too, height of action pictures, and they're smart. It's like RoboCop is like the height of satire. It's like this movie. This movie can be taken all sorts of different ways. It's so intricately written and all that. And Starship Troopers, like I love the book, and it's not the book, but it does have that cynical right wing slant to it, which was the whole point of that book, right? So, those three are wicked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Verhoeven is one of my favorite directors, and I miss him from movies. I mean, whenever there was a new Verhoeven movie, that was an event for me because it was him doing sci-fi. And there's something about whenever the action stars would do sci-fi that it was awesome, because like you would have like Arnie doing Terminator, Total Recall. You'd have Sylvester Stallone doing Demolition Man, which is another one of my favorites. You Van Damme doing Time Cop. So they would branch out and try, and sci-fi and action go so well together. And it's definitely sort of a genre I miss. And whenever I watched the remake once out of curiosity, I was like, I have to see what it's about just so I know. Like I got through it and I was like, okay, first of all, the score is forgettable. There's no tune. You're not Jerry Goldsmith. Sorry. It's PG-13, so there's no violence to speak of. I mean, some of the visuals are okay, and Kate Beckinsale being the best visual. But aside from that, you got Colin Farrell, and I was like, you're not Arnie. He's fine.
He's a good actor, but you can't fill Schwarzenegger's shoes with Colin Farrell.
But this is this closed concept where it's like, we don't go to Mars. It's like, okay, I'm not interested. Like why? This is what they do nowadays. They compress stories. We have to close the world down. It's like, okay, no, but I want it to be open. I want it to be like he's like a guy who can go any. What I would have done then is I would have had another planet. He goes to friggin' Mars, and then he goes to another planet or something like open it up even more.
Total Recall.
Right. I don't understand. Like, on the one hand, you might get to Terminator 4 and there's like 400 Terminators. You're like, okay, maybe this is too much. But I'd rather have that than be like, there's only one little small thing. Like, we're not going to go to Mars. As soon as they didn't go to Mars, I'm like, it's over. And they said, in the book, in the story, they didn't go to Mars. Yeah, but it's clear that he was on Mars, in that story.
It's the main part of the story.
Yeah, the whole thing was that he went to Mars to assassinate a guy. Dumbass. What story did you read? It's 19 pages. You can't read that.
Probably not.
I think they just wanted to make it different, and they failed in the concept. And plus, there's just some movies you don't need to remake. I don't
like RoboCop as well. Yeah. It's like why are you remaking these R-rated classic movies, which are pretty much flawless? And then, we have mildly better visual effects. We're going to tone down the violence, take away the satire and everything that made the movies entertaining, and just make them bland, generic blockbusters that you forget about as soon as you walk out the cinema.
Yeah, well, I ask you, like. Generally, you go and you watch a remake because it improves upon something, and it improves upon a story element, maybe, or it updates the visual effects or something to that idea. But this movie already was a technical marvel when it came out, and the visual effects are still stunning. You're not improving on the story. It has a ton of quotable lines. It has all sorts of character smarts, memorable moments. Like, what are you going to improve upon? I didn't bother watching it because I'm like, this movie's 10 out of 10. I never need to see another version of this movie. So why are you remaking it? Other than to make money off the name, which is obviously why they did it. But like, I'm not playing that game. So like, I never saw it, and I probably never will. I don't care about.
You're not missing anything.
This remake. Yeah.
Can I propose something? Like, what if they just brought the movie back out in theaters? Like, like what happened to? I know that still happens sometimes, but shit, that's how I saw all the Disney movies. Because as a kid, I saw every Disney movie. I've literally seen every Disney movie in the theater, and then I'm walking around saying, I saw Snow White in the theater, and someone's like, dumbass, you didn't see shit in the theater. It's like, how old were you? I'm like, oh wait a minute, I did see it in the theater though. It's like, because they brought it back out. Just, you know what? It costs you $0 to bring Total Recall back out. Do like a 4K better transfer or some shit. Clean it up. Yeah. Do that. Bring it back out. People are going to go watch it, and it'll cost you nothing. So even if it only makes like $5 million, that's $5 million extra dollars that you got for doing nothing.
And it's advertising for the big deluxe set you're gonna release.
Yeah, they should have released it for that, like a month in theater or whatever to celebrate 30 years of it being released. They didn't do anything, and I was like, I would have. Like, it's funny. Jimmy says here. Every time I usually mention this movie to people, they tend to look down on it because it's seen as an Arnie movie, and that's true. Like,
why is that a bad thing, though?
I know. He's the greatest action star of all time. So why is that a bad thing?
Now, to go back to Sean. Sean was talking about Schwarzenegger's acting and how sometimes he gets a bad rap. Like in this movie, sometimes the way he talks. That's just the way he talks, and I think people don't know how to comprehend that, because even when I was watching Total Recall again this week, sometimes he's just blunt. He's just like, he just says it, but it's not bad acting. It's just how he is.
There's no accident. There's no accident to Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's like he's not an embarrassment. Like, he was magnetic on screen, and he still is. Like, he was a star for a reason. Like, and I think like recent generations look back on him and say, "What the hell was that?" But his movies were great, and he was great in them. If you watch them, like, you can't take your eyes off this guy. Like, and he's super charismatic, So I don't know. Yeah, he can't say ambulance in Eraser, but
but he's larger than life. I mean, especially on the big screen, you're just like, and this generation now, see what they're being raised on, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm just saying it was a whole totally different.
It fucking sucks.
Like, you can make fun of Schwarzenegger's acting all you want. The man spanned genres. He was action, he was comedy, he was sci-fi, he was horror. He did more genres than some of these so-called great actors, and he did everything flawlessly. Every movie he did wasn't just a box office hit. It was actually a good damn film. And he was
a trendsetter too.
String after string. Even his Disappointment, Last Action Hero, was a phenomenal movie.
Underrated.
We're going to do a show in a few weeks. I can talk for days about Last Action Hero.
That movie just has so much Oh my god, it's just you can't you have to you can't watch it enough times.
Also, just to give a little love to my shirt here, you don't win Mr. Olympia and Mr. Universe 100 times without you know how hard it is to do bodybuilding. It's crazy.
Yes.
And then from that to movies, and then to Governor, it's like now the guguy now has his own Olympia contest that he runs, like the Arnold Open.
He's an all-time champion. Yeah,
this is crazy. This man is crazy. It's like he's done everything, and it's like if someone says this person's, if anyone makes fun of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'm very easy. It's like, okay, tell me who's your guy, and then they're like, and then whoever they pick is going to be verbally destroyed by me. It's like
Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne Johnson.
Okay.
It's
what
like,
Disney movies he in?
Disney movies. Like didn't Trent said anything.
Even to J-Man's point, even now he released the best COVID-19 thing ever, where
oh my
he
god,
was
yes,
in a hot tub with a cigar, a little dog walking behind him. He's like, "Stay home," all that stuff. This guy's awesome. Even this is great.
And that's funny too. Like he knows he's a smart man. He understands. To Sean's point, there's not an accident, right?
Yeah.
Like when you're someone who's crafting every muscle, it's like you're a precise person, right? Like everything he does is very precise.
As an aside, I love that thing that happened. I think 2 years ago, where some dude tried to drop kick his back.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. And he was just like, he was like this. Like, what was that?
And it was like, what happened?
What the hell are you? Oh, that was brilliant.
Oh god!
Oh my
Was that a fly? Was that a fly?
And as people looked at an action movies and that they do, yeah. I was seeing on a stream recently, I can't remember if it was with you guys, about how like whenever you go to a store and like there's never an action section, there's like horror, sci-fi, anime, and there's never action. It's sort of like, action, we just put that, mix it in with the other stuff, and it's like the cult of action basically now, where it's almost like they're ashamed of it. And I was like, I would rather watch anything from the 80s, most of the horse shit that's released these days.
Yeah, it's a thriller.
Yeah.
But when you get a great action movie, and you still occasionally get something like a John Wick or Nobody, it opens people up. Like they get excited again, which you don't get excited over movies anymore. Like they release like the trailers, and we're like, oh god, okay, well, I guess I'll see it because it's an obligation. We got the channel or whatnot. We gotta watch it. But it's not like there's excitement where I'm like, oh, I'm so looking forward to this. Usually, and you don't find that with other genres. Like usually you're dragged kicking and screaming to the damn theater because you're like, well, I got to write a review on this. Someone's got to watch it, sort of thing. But it's almost like an obligation, right? Yeah. Where like if action is done right, you can actually get excited over it. You can actually be like, man, I can't wait to see Keanu Reeves throw a bunch of knives into someone's face. Like that's something you can actually get excited over. What do you get excited over if any other genre? Maybe horror if you're like, I want to see Michael Myers kill a bunch of people. But again, it's far and few between. Now it's all like I said, it's obligation. And usually it's like I'll just retreat back to my library and watch a movie from my own personal collection as opposed to watching something new. Because I know I'll be happy watching something I have in my library. I don't know if I'll be happy watching what I see.
It's funny you said that because Owen and I were always talking like, we have to watch this movie because we have to review it. Like the one time I told him I just broke out Commando, and I'm like, I'm not watching this movie. I'm gonna watch Commando.
Yeah, it's like we watched this indie movie I filmed with my potato phone. You're like,
it's like, let me watch Conan the Barbarian instead.
Just let me watch something good. Watch something before 1999 and leave me alone.
You gotta take it from me. You gotta watch some of the things for yourself too. Like weekend watching, my wife and I do one older movie. Like we're doing Saw Part 1 this on Saturday and Sunday. We're gonna pick a classic, so like a black and white movie. So we always try to watch something for fun that we like, because then I know then there's gonna be I have to watch What If now because I'm talking about it on Sunday or whatever. I'm like, oh, so it's like there's that you got to watch it for your channel. Then there's you got to keep time for the ones
watch
that
it
you
for
just
joy,
for the fun of it. Yeah, where's the fun? It's like I find myself when I'm watching a movie to review it, I start to wander, and think about other stuff because I have to concentrate on it. I'm like this, but then I'm watching a movie I was watching Total Recall. I mean, I knew I was going to be talking about it, but I was like 10 years old again. I'm like, it's like, So.
Yeah. I mean, we don't need any notes for this. We're just talking about it because it's just sheer love for the film. And Jimmy.
Plus, we've seen it 70 times, so that helps.
Yeah. I feel like I haven't bothered with a lot of music, just watching old stuff, part of the collection or two. Tubi is probably my favorite streaming service in terms of action.
I introduced my wife to Tubi. I'm like, look at this. I mean, the only thing she hates is that there's commercials. I'm like, but it's free.
Yeah.
It's like,
and it's got all those tons of PM entertainment movies and stuff like that, just really obscure things, and that's where I watch Abraxas, Guardian of the Universe, and Robot Jocks, and all these classics.
Robot Jocks, Gary Graham. Oh my god, love it.
Because I watched Robot Jocks, Crash and Burn, and Robot Wars. I watched all three in the one day.
Yeah. Oh man, that's a great day.
That was the best day. Yeah. Some people have their wedding day as a good day. I was like, no, that was a good day.
I watched that Gina Carano one where it's like the post-apocalyptic thing. I can't remember the name of it. It was I can't remember.
Scorched Earth.
Scorched Earth. Yeah, maybe. I thought it was fine. I like her, but I watched that, and then I watched one of the Elvira. It was like Castle of Freaks or something like that. It was great, but it was the Elvira version where she hosts it. It was awesome. Tubi's great.
Oh, it is. Well, you can't actually see it behind me, but I recently got the full collection of Tales from the Crypt last year. And I was like, the entire series itself. So I've been watching that. I'm about to start season 3. I took a break for a while because I thought, well, it's coming up to my favorite time of the year. So I'm going to be watching an episode every night. So I'm nearly finished Gangs of London. Finally, I could probably finish that on Sunday.
I still got to watch that. I have no time. I'm like, I need to watch this. Or you just did, what's it called? The Japanese samurai movies? What are they called? Yeah, I gotta watch those too because I'm like everybody and their mother says you gotta watch this. I'm like, I know, I'm trying. It's like figure
so out. Good. It's the main theme when it comes in, and it's like there's this lone female vocal comes in, and then the drums come in, and it's just like epic music, and you just know, oh, he's gonna fuck everybody up now. He tends to do that, and you just got to get amazing sword fights. And like as I said in the article, I was like, I was going to say, the manga, the anime is better. I'm never going to watch that. I'm watching the live action movie. So I am curious to watch it. It's the only time I've ever been curious to watch it. But I can't seem to find it. Can you buy it on
that
DVD?
Anime is very hard to find. My wife, so we've got some of the statues. My wife loves Kenshin, so she's got the statues and stuff. Nice. She's not going to watch the movies because she's read the manga. She's read it a couple times. So that's when you read the manga, that's the thing it's from. And then everything's just downhill from that. Like Death Note, the manga's great. The anime is pretty good. The live action Japanese movies are okay. And the live action other one is garbage. So it just goes down. So she's like, I'm not watching. She won't. And I haven't seen the Kenshin movies because she loves the manga so much. She bought statues and figures. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm never watching those movies.
It's literally one of my all-time favorite franchises. It's all 5 movies are
awesome. Yeah.
I was like, you gave it a 5. I'm like, shit. Owen gave it a 5. I'm like,
I never give anything a 5.
I didn't even read your review on. I just saw 5. I'm like, all right, okay.
Purchase. Yeah. No, actually, anyone watch Cop Shop? It looks pretty good. Yeah, I'm actually going to go see it.
I'm going to see it this weekend. Yeah.
If any of you guys want to come with me, I'm going to go myself to the theater. I'm just going to go to Oakville and see it, and I'll do a review for after because I got free tickets for it. Which nobody entered.
Yeah, I saw that. I did see it there, and I'm like, well.
Yeah. So if anybody's about tomorrow, let me know if you want to come see it.
I was going to say about Total Recall. Did anyone get this thing? Steve gave me this, but
nice.
This was a limited edition, and it has a little booklet. But this thing was reduced to $5 at Walmart, and so no one wanted them because no one liked the packaging. I think the packaging is fine.
I think it's awesome.
Let's slide it into
it kind of looks like a burger. I could probably eat it.
It's like you take the thing off.
That's Mars.
Yeah.
It's Mars, yeah.
And then inside is the disc and a little booklet.
Wow. If I saw that, I would buy it probably. Yeah. I mean, I already have the film on Blu-ray, but It depends what the movie is. If they do like a super special edition of it, and there's lots of special features which I haven't seen before, but like I have Total Recall on Blu-ray, and that's fine. So I never bothered getting the 4K one. Did you get the 4K, Stephen?
Yeah, I got it as soon as I could. I could not, like, that's as soon as it came out, I'm like, okay, 4K, like that's not even a question. Like I didn't even get Terminator 1 or 2 on 4K, but as soon as I heard Total Recall, I'm like, that movie needs to be on 4K, like just without a doubt.
And does it look good?
Oh, it looks amazing. One thing I'll say is that 4K, they generally don't screw it up. Like, it does look better than the Blu-rays for the most part. There are ones here and there, but you know, I haven't had any yet that have been worse than the Blu-rays, so I've been lucky that way. But it looks incredible on 4K. Like it just, everything is just. People might say, well, on 4K, the suits do look rubbery and stuff like that, but I don't think so. It sort of shows how great the craftsmanship was with the makeup. Unfortunately, we're losing makeup due to CGI. You're not seeing the makeup artists you used to, and that's one of the real tragedies of modern filmmaking, is
one of many
that
practical effects.
Yeah. You know, like you see how guys would, you know, like what happened in Alien, like shooting the stuff out like through the stomach. Like you don't have that now. You're just
that would be CG. Yeah.
Don't worry, guys. It'll be on a green screen, and we'll put it into a computer, and we'll pay some guy to put all this out. And don't get me wrong, like some of the CGI stuff, like the guys putting in the dust particles and the textures and that's cool. But like, I love the inventiveness of sitting there and saying, how are we going to do this? Like, even in like J-Man's and my film, which will never see the light of day in theaters, but like when we had a visual effect, it was cool to see the person who we had do it, put it together and implement it, and how J-Man shot it. It's pure like inventiveness, which you don't have to do anymore. It's just like, like even Sin City, like, is a perfect example. Like, we'll just shoot everything in a green screen and then throw it into a computer and make this world. Sin City, I like the movie, but like you lose something.
Yeah, my favorite example of that is Mama. I don't know if anyone's ever seen that horror movie about the ghost in the woods. So in the movie, the ghost is CGI and stuff. They did tests of a practical monster, and it looks awesome. And the studio is like, it looks too practical. Let's do CGI. What the? And if
it looks too real.
If you look at the it's called Mama Movement Test on YouTube. If you look at that, it looks creepy and amazing, and that would have been great for that movie, and they didn't use it. So
I think you lose something, like the Alien example, like when they pump the blood out and it squirts out, you get the reaction of the actors. We're like, whoa, shit! And what's her face?
Veronica Cartwright.
She's like freaking out.
She was like, holy shit! She's like, that's literally me, like freaking out, like holy shit. So I think there's that, and also just the way blood squirts out. It's unpredictable pattern, right? Like,
you know
what I mean? When you CGI it, it's someone picking where the blood goes. Like, it's like someone saying, "Oh, it sprays here." To our eyes, it's still, we can tell it's not real. It's just the human eye can, and the brain. You can just see that this is not real. And for a split second, you're out of the story, and then you're probably back. It doesn't ruin a movie for me, but like, you're out for a split second, and that's always the worst thing. You shouldn't notice effects. You should walk down, like, you shouldn't be noticing how good that they are. You know, I used to do sound on our TV series with Sean being the director when we were working at the TV studio. Sound, same thing. If you only notice it when it's bad.
Yeah.
Right? Sound is thankless. Like, no one said, "Oh, Jay, man, you did fucking great on sound."
Yeah, it's like, I fucking heard everything, so fuck you.
It's like, you can hear everybody. The levels were good. You put it down when people were done. You're like, see ya, right? No one cares, right? So it's like, it's only when it's bad that it's a problem.
Yeah.
So same thing with effects. Total Recall is perfect. You don't need to, like, the remake again. There's nothing to improve upon on that movie, really. maybe a couple of shots where you can look at it now with today's eye and say, "Oh, that looks weird." Really, going to remake a movie for a few shots? Like it's silly.
What they need to do is you just need to kill real people like they did in Total Recall, because all those civilians, they weren't actors, they were actually genuinely shot making that film.
Yeah, that'd be better. Yeah. If you actually did, though, it wouldn't be as spectacular. That's true. Bruce Lee found that out with fighting. If you actually punch people, it's not as cool as if you don't punch them.
It doesn't make this cool sound effect either. I mean, like any fight I've been in, I'm so disappointed because it's like, you're like, really? Where's the whoosh?
Yeah. For one of my movies, I did my own sound effects, and I actually punched myself in the gut and I swear to for I'll tell you which one after. I literally punched myself and I recorded that sound, and that's the sound in it. And everybody was like, "That sounds weird." Before that, we used to use Street Fighter sound effects in our movies.
Yeah,
people like that better.
That'd be much cooler. I know. I was talking with Preston last night, so next week's show is going to be a little different. It may be on a different night, though. I'm not sure when. We're going to try and see when he's available. But this is going to be our first versus, and we're going to do Exterminator versus Exterminator 2.
Oh,
nice.
My God.
You're not allowed to say which one is your favorite, Jay, because I know.
No, it's too hard, though.
No. So I'm gonna rewatch them both. I haven't seen them for a while and catch up with them, but I think doing a versus will be a bit of fun. So and I think me and Cameron are going to do a show. We're going to discuss Miami Vice, which I'm looking forward to. Obviously, we'll just talk about that for hours. If anybody watches, that'll be at some point in the next few days. I'm off for a long weekend just now, so I may just take a break and not do much. But yeah, so that's the plan for the next one. Does anybody have any other Total Recall related thoughts? I think we need to quote some of the one-liners. I
mean, there's so many of them, right? Like, and the one guy from RoboCop is in it too. Paul Verhoeven has his like little guys that he always uses. Yeah. What's the guy? It's the guy that was, oh my God, I forgot his name. And he's from the cartoon series as well. This character in RoboCop, he's the one who's like saying, "We'll get you whatever you want. Let the mayor go." He's like, "We'll give you whatever you want," right? And he's like, "You want a 6000 SUX?" He's like, "Yeah." So then that guy is the guy at the 2 weeks part with Richter and all that. And
I did not know that.
He's one of the guys there. And then also the guy who plays Gul Dukat in Deep Space Nine, Mark Alameo or something. He's also in that scene too. It's pretty cool. Like he's got a lot of cool like actors that you notice. And like what Steve was saying, the blonde haired guy who I don't remember his name, who's the Richter's friend, who's like, "Yeah, I'm sure she hated every minute of it," or whatever. And he's like, "Oh, she's doing her job. You're saying she enjoyed it? Oh no, she hated every minute." Like I like all of those extra. Yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. Like Steve said that it's like even the side characters are kind of fun, right? They've got something.
The script is perfect to this movie. Like the script is so good. I think it's maybe my favorite script to an Arnie movie because every one-liner is perfect. I love Consider That a Divorce.
Yeah,
one of my favorites.
I can pull this trigger and nothing, and it doesn't matter.
And of course, you the body Richter, which may be my favorite kill of all time. I mean, it's just so amazing. But yeah, I mean, there are just so many like great moments in the movie. The visual effects, the music. There's a moment at the end when Quaid is talking with Cohagen just before he's going to do the hand thing, and he says, "You're nothing. You're nothing. You're just a dream or whatever." And you look at him, and his Quaid sort of got his hair messed up and everything, and it's just a silhouette. And he looks, the first time he ever looks pathetic and vulnerable, and you just sort of feel genuine sympathy for him. And I got to credit to Arnie. I think Arnie's good, although as much as I love to mimic his voice, which is endlessly entertaining for me, I don't care if anyone else does. But I enjoy it. But yeah, I think he's perfect in this as Douglas Quaid. He just brings there's the right amount. The tone is perfect to this movie. It's got a bit of heart. It's got humor. It's got violence and great villains. Love Cohagen, love Richter, and everything else. And that's why after 30 years, it's still just one of my favorite movies. I rank it second. There's like Terminator 1 and 2 or joint number 1. Then Total Recall for me for. Arnie, what are you about to say there, Sean?
We forgot the David Cronenberg of it all. He contributed to the script. And he's the guy who came up with Kuatu, of course.
Of course.
Something comes out of someone's stomach, it's David Cronenberg.
He came up with the mutants idea, so that wasn't in the original thing, right. and Kuatu was his. And like when you hear Cronenberg, you're like, yeah, Kuatu was there.
Yeah, that.
Of course, it was him.
He's like, I mean, you can't even like. Oh God, it's just so weird and
it's a strange movie.
Cronenberg. Anytime there's a body thing, you can't turn away from it, but you know it's weird. You're just like, Kuatu too. I was like, where he's like, don't get nervous. I was like, oh shit, what's gonna happen here? He starts like, and you're like, oh, that's
what's this
weird.
baby thing?
It's like that's weird.
It's like this script needs punching up. Give that Cronenberg kid. It's like the guy coming out of his stomach. Like,
what if we had a mutant coming out of someone's stomach and he's it's like let's do that. And even Benny too. Did Benny trick you? Yeah, because I got tricked when I first saw it.
Oh yeah, when I first saw it, I was like, "You bastard! You bastard!"
Yeah, 4 kids.
Screw you!
It was 5 kids. Like,
it's 5.
You got me. I'm not even married. Yeah.
even married. Yeah, even he's got.
Or he's got. That's the best kill too. If you think, but he's like, "Screw you!"
Kill is a classic. Yeah. Where the fuck are you?
and he just pulls it out, and you see all the blood dripping off of it. It's like
how about the Ronnie Cox versus RoboCop or Total Recall? Who's the worst? Who's
which one's more asshole in?
Cohagen is the worst because he kills his own goldfish. What kind of a dick move is that?
Yeah.
Well, hell, they killed those goldfish on set, man. I don't think those guys were covered.
Yeah, just like the extras they killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, do you think PETA got after him for that? It's like,
I don't know.
Those look real. But
did you see the credits? Does the credit say no animals harmed? In the
I don't know. Maybe it does.
Paul Verhoeven doesn't care.
He's like, sue me.
Go ahead. I always thought that skeleton. I remember being really like wowed by the X-ray thing where he's walking, and you're like, "Whoa, this is really cool." I think that may have been one of the first times where you're just like, "Whoa, that's." I didn't think that was going to happen, and it was kind of cool. And it didn't need to be. I think the movie has a lot of parts that like are really neat that didn't need to be that neat. Like even if we didn't see the X-ray of the skeleton, if it was just like a computer screen and someone's like, "Oh, he's got a gun," that would have been enough.
Thing, man.
Right?
That was all over the trailers, though.
Oh, I know, smashing through. It's like
But 2 weeks waiting. Like, I was thrown off when I first saw that because I'm like, because they don't really like. You saw the head. Like he puts the head out when he's like getting his stuff out, but it doesn't like you don't really think about like he's going to put that on his own head. Like you just see the woman walk through, and then like it's like, do you have anything to declare? It's like 2 weeks, and he's like, what? And then like 2 weeks, and you're like, what is going to happen?
Yeah, like what happens there? Does it just malfunction or
just malfunctions?
Yeah, what's funny to me is like blew a circuit or something.
He doesn't just put on a head; it's like a full costume.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, like, even later, because I was like, oh, maybe it's just the Schwarzenegger body after that, right? But no, when he runs away, he still has a fake ass on.
And the guy that they got, the actor was the actor who did the commercial for Recall. So it was great, right? Because you noticed that and you see him on the screen, like for Recall, memories of a lifetime.
Rico.
So he's there.
He throws the thing,
and then they get him. So now that guy's dead. He can't make any more commercials.
I love Harry in this. So when Harry's like, "Oh, Rico."
Yeah.
You went to those brain butchers.
I know. It's funny too, like because then he's talking about how, then he looks at him like he's like. That's how you know like something's wrong because like he's looking at Quaid like he's like, oh shit, when they're on the jackhammer things and he turns it back on, he's like, he's like, I better call the boss.
Schwarzenegger mega showing off his arms.
That was awesome,
guy, man.
You would think someone would send a report up to Cohagen saying, he's on this planet where there's a recall thing. It might not be good to like let him go to that. We should like put someone on him or something.
Well, I think he was he said he wasn't going to go, and then he just kind of went, and they immediately like caught on to him. But I guess you did, pal. You went to recall. I told you not to go, right? So they nailed him right away. Like as soon as he got out of that cab, he was like pretty much nailed right there or whatever. Did you notice in the story, the secretary is changing the color of her breasts? Not her nails.
Yeah.
Why wasn't that in the movie? It's like
that's also one of the best, most subtle visual effects in the movie.
Right.
Like when she changes the nails, like how do they do that?
Yeah.
The technology looks practical. It's like there's a board with a syllabus, and it makes sense.
It's just one of these little things, just where you're just like, when I was watching it the other day, I was like, oh wow, that's really clever how they did that. You know?
Right? Did they need that? Like, if that nail thing didn't happen, it just would have been the same movie, 10 out of 10, whatever. But it's like, that's what I'm saying. Like, Paul Verhoeven does these little details, like, and like, and that's an effect. That's not a detail of, oh, maybe I'll hold this mouse and it'll be cool, and I'll use the laser to do something. You know, it's like where it's just there. It's like you have to think of that and then do an effect for it. So someone sat there and say, well, what if she's doing her nails? Oh, how are we going to do that? Oh, we'll digitally alter her nails. It's like, okay, why are we doing? Like, I'd be sitting there thinking, just get the shot. She's in it for 1 minute to introduce him to the guy. Like, why do we need this? Because it's part of the world building.
Sets up the world.
Right.
And Paul Verhoeven actually cared about the audience having a good time in his movies, which, obviously doesn't happen anymore or as often as it should. But he was very much like everything was a treat. Like he thought, to your point, Jay, man, he thought everything out really well, and everything felt connected, and it felt well thought out. Like you could look at that, just little moments like that. When Benny shows he's got that alien arm, I was floored. You didn't need to do that. No. You literally didn't need to do that. He could have just had two normal arms, and I would have been like, all right. But he did that, and I'm like, hey, we're all friends. I'm like, what? Like that's crazy. I didn't even think he had an alien arm. So like
right, and he didn't need it. It would have been the same movie. It's like they trusted Benny, but then it turns out he was working with Cohagen the whole time. Oh, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean they let him in because he's a mutant and they trust him, but you could have easily had Schwarzenegger say, no, he's been with us from the beginning. He's a great guy. I trust him. Okay. Right. Like, and then that's it. Right. So there's all these like things in there that don't need to be there. They're just there to make you feel as though this is really happening in some somewhere or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just don't do details like that in movies anymore. It's just get the shots done, get it on time, make your opening weekend.
Because it doesn't feel like there's any joy in making the movie.
No,
it's just perfunctory. It's like hit the plot points, and that's it. It's like your point, J-Man, about the Willy Wonka movie they made like recently,
right?
Compared to the old one. There's no fun ideas like a car that runs on soda pop or something like that.
Right.
It's just
random.
It's like each kid has to go because that's the story. But there's no wonder or some sort of fun thing thrown
there
in.
Really is these days.
The wonder of this universe, right?
Yeah. I always say that, like in articles and everything. I said there are very few movies that have a sense of wonder anymore. Everything is sort of cynical or whatever else, and just corporate and bland.
Yeah, you have to be in love with the idea. Like when they made this, so like, it'd be cool. It's like a new kind of X-ray thing where you see the bones and stuff. That's awesome. Let's do that. And then there has to be a scene where he jumps through it, right? It's like things like that, right? They're getting into it. They're having fun making the thing, right? Yeah.
And also, this was after The Running Man, wasn't it? The Running Man was still 80s.
Yeah, Running Man was 87.
87. Yeah, because this was the second Arnie movie where we have the swearing old lady. Yeah, like in The Running Man, where it's like, he's one mean motherfucker. And then in this one, he's like, excuse me, ma'am, but I need it. And then she's like, fuck you, you asshole.
And he was
and this was the movie where he says, come on, don't bullshit me. I always thought that was like Commando, but
what about the guy who lobotomized? Did he get a refund?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know. Like, there's so many good things that happen. I mean, it's crazy to think that there's really not anything to complain about. Like normally we look for things to complain about.
Like I think that effect is awesome.
It's awesome. Yeah,
when you see the eyes like popping out, and he's like,
I think though, to your earlier question, Cohagen is the worst because if you think about it, when they're going to like put Quaid back into the machine to bring back the Hauser personality, he's also using he's like and you were going to make to Rachel Takan. He's like, we're going to make you more servile. You'll do whatever.
Babe.
He doesn't need to do this. He can just get rid of her. She's no one. She's a Mars prostitute, basically, an escort. He's like, no, I don't like you. I'm going to modify you as well. I'm like, what kind of a man does this?
He's helping his friend. Cohagen's a great friend to have. He's going to give you whatever
he's his
you
best
want.
friend.
And we can get that son of a bitch who screwed you and me.
Oh, also, like that scene where he shoots the rat and you just hear the blood running down the screen. Get your ass to Mars. It was like you're a rat.
Get your ass to Mars. Right, that's awesome. Right, that's awesome too. And getting and then the money and all that. Get your ass to Mars is a great line. Having all the different denominations, and then someone thought of having different currency. Like it could have just been currency, but someone's like, "Oh, wait,
it's like Mars currency.
There's probably different currency, so it looks different." It's like it's the details where somebody, as Sean was saying, we're saying it's like you're in love with what you're making. It's like you're just coming up. You can't control yourself because you're coming up with so many cool ideas. Every single sign, like Quaid is walking around the city, and every sign is different. I don't think there's anything recognizable. Like, is there a McDonald's or something?
Oh, there's a lot, J-Man. There's like Jack in the Box.
There's Jack in the Box, right?
Film. Yeah, no.
Right.
There's a
lot of modern
placement. Yeah.
But there's also like fake ones too, right? Like there's fake things around. So someone had to think of all those fake things, which I think is really neat too.
I noticed that. Yeah, Jack in the Box. There's a lot of. I guess they paid some money for the film or something and just put the thing in there.
I don't know how it works. Actually, Rob Ager did a whole thing on Total Recall and product placement, but also he did one on the symbolism of just the signs in the movie. You should check out his stuff. He really goes in depth.
I follow him.
Yeah.
I find it's funny. After like watching most action movies, I want to have a Pepsi because the amount of times you see a Pepsi logo in movies, and this is one of them. And I remember in Abraxas Guardian of the Universe, when I watched that a few weeks ago, I was like, I have never seen so many Pepsi signs or bottles in a movie before. And I was like, I really need a Pepsi. And it's funny just like how unsubtle it can be.
I remember this an aside, but I remember I don't know if anyone remembers this when they first released VHS tapes of Superman 2, and you can only rent them, you couldn't buy them. They put in a Coke commercial halfway through the fight in Metropolis. It's like what's his name? Zod gets thrown into a Coke sign, and then they had a whole they had the whole Michael Jackson like Coke commercial. And then it cuts back to the movie. I remember that being very jarring, and I think people they were experimenting with how to advertise in VHS tapes, and people complained, and then that never happened again.
Wow!
They just did it on YouTube.
I remember that. I don't know if anyone has a copy of that anymore. Like I never see it on YouTube, but
Warner does have a contract with Coke because do you guys remember the Batman Coke commercial before 89 Batman? Yes. That was on the VHS before the movie played.
The Diet Coke, just for the taste of it.
Diet Coke.
I always remember that because what's his name? Alfred says you have to hurry because the gentleman is usually in quite a rush. My father thought he said the gentleman is quite a lush. He just started laughing his ass off, and I'm like, what happened? He's like, he called him a lush. I'm like, no, he didn't. I tried to watch the commercial again. I'm like, no. It says he's in a rush.
I'll cancel the pizzas.
You're showing your face around here. There, look who's talking. I love this. Yeah, for a movie set in the future with space colonization, why the fuck are they still manually jackhammering rocks for foundations? Yeah, there should be like robots or lasers shit doing that.
Yeah, you have a Johnny Cab for God's sake.
Yeah,
you're in a
Hope you enjoyed the ride.
Well, they're still using
rolls his eyes.
They're still using machine guns with bullets. It's like, where's the ray guns? Where's the lasers?
Where's the laser guns and everything? Yeah.
Well, with the jackhammering, you needed a reason for Schwarzenegger to show off his guns, like in a cutoff, and what else are you going to do except he's jackhammering? So it's like, all right, cool. Unfortunately, they made the other guy do it too, and he was a little portly guy, and he was probably like, screw this, why do I have to jackhammer?
Yeah,
let Schwarzenegger do it.
Yeah, it's funny. Robert Picardo is Johnny Cab from was it Star Trek Voyager, isn't it? Yeah, wasn't he in that? He's a doctor in Voyager.
And it looks like him too.
He's the holographic doctor.
Yeah.
He shows up in the weirdest place. He was in The Howling. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And he's in 976 Evil. He's the guy on the phone, and he's also in it too. He's Dark.
Oh, yeah.
What's his Mark Darker of the guy? I can't remember the character
And
name.
he's the cowboy in Inner Space.
Oh my gosh.
God, I haven't seen Inner Space in years. I think you gave me the DVD, and it's on my to watch list at some point soon. I haven't seen it for a long time. All right, well, I think we can wrap it up there. I was trying to get this one under an hour tonight. One day we'll do it under an hour. It's not this day. Whenever it's a movie like this where we just get excited talking about it, it's frankly, you're lucky it's less than 3 hours long. It could just be me making Arnie noises for the whole night. Remember, if you're watching this, to like and subscribe to J-Man's channel as well, because he does some good shit. And he does most nights of the week. What nights is it you do your streams, Stu? And he froze.
He lost everyone. So,
what was the last thing you heard me say?
All right, there we go.
Was it just Jay?
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I was lost for a minute. Yeah.
Oh, I was saying, what nights do you stream normally? I was getting everyone to subscribe to you.
So usually Thursday nights and Sunday nights, but it could change. But yeah, that's usually the regular nights.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody, and we'll join you next time. So, are you guys all down then to do the Exterminator versus soon then?
I could do Exterminator right now. Start it up. Let's go.
I gotta watch them again.
Probably opt out.
Yeah, I've not seen those. I don't know when.
All right. Oh, yeah. I have the first one on Blu-ray, and then I have the second one in a DVD set. What about you, Sean? Have you seen them?
I feel like I have. I've seen them recently though, but I think I only have 2. So yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll send an invite to everybody anyway, and then if you show up or whatever, then you don't. But I know Preston's going to join us anyway. So thank you guys. Remember, like, subscribe, and remember, you are the Action Elite, and we'll see you next time.
See you at the party, Richter.